The Cryptid Readathon is winding down, and I'm going to talk about a few more books that I have read for this readathon. Those books are To the Devil, a Cryptid by Hunter Shea, and The Reyes Incident by Brianna Morgan. Both were really fun reads. To the Devil, a Cryptid is about the Goat Man. And there's this town somewhere in Texas that there's this old abandoned bridge. It's near the woods, and rumor has it, or legend has it, that you knock 3 times on there and you call for the Goat Man and he appears. And in times past, he never seemed to be that dangerous. But one night, this satanic cult, or just a cult in general, I don't know. I mean, they seem like they were a satanic cult. This woman, Lupita, who is the leader of the cult, they're out in the forest and it's a dark and stormy night. And a lot of times, bad stuff happens on dark and stormy nights. So they're out there. And there's, I think, 6 or 7 of them, and they're doing this ritual to call on the Goat Man. They're gonna sacrifice a goat, and it's getting crazy. There's this other guy who stumbles upon them, name's Jason. There's been a whole rash of, people's cats winding up dead, and Jason's a big, animal lover, and he's kind of sick of this crap. And so he wants to put, a kibosh on these crazy people in the woods doing rituals and stuff and whatnot. So he goes out there. So he's in the woods too on this dark and stormy night. And they're doing this ritual, and there's blood and raining and lightning and thunder. At the peak of the ritual, lightning strikes. I don't know what the heck happened. Jason, he's walking up with these people, he's yelling at them like, "What the heck are you guys doing? Get out of here." And Lupita, she's reading stuff from the Bible backwards, or she's saying a prayer backwards. I don't know, something along those lines. And when the lightning strikes, everybody falls down and gets struck by lightning, and Jason disappears, the goat disappears, and then all of a sudden there's this really strange, crazy noise that happens. The Goat Man cometh, and he is pissed, and all he has on his mind is murder. This book is horror and gore. If you like slashers, I wanted to come up with a clever word for it, like a goat slasher, but I can't think of anything. It's not going to be as clever as when I call the next book, The Reyes Incident, a splasher because of killer mermaids, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the Goat Man comes, and he's pissed. He's going to take it out on everyone. And so then how do they stop the Goat Man? And how did they actually summon him? And then what happened to the rest of this cult? It's a crazy story, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it, but it had a couple inconsistencies in it that I was like, oh man, why? The inconsistencies are, so there's these 2 characters. It's Lou and Chad. At this point in the story, they are running from the Goat Man, and they're lost. Lou is like, oh, let me check my GPS on my phone to find out where we are so we can figure out where the heck we are. And then she realizes she lost her phone. And Chad's like, oh, I have mine. And he's like, oh, pats himself down. He lost his phone. 2 pages later, Lou is able to give Chad specific instructions and directions how exactly to get back to the woods where they were before. So I'm not sure when you're lost how that's possible. So that was kind of one inconsistency. And then later in this story, these same 2 characters who lost their phones magically have them again. Never explains how they maybe found them or anything. They just have their phones after there was a specific part of the story literally saying they lost their phones. Outside of that, I had a lot of fun with it. If you like cryptids, if you like weird, gory slashers, it was a lot of fun. So the next book we read, The Reyes Incident, it's about killer mermaids. And oh boy, what a wild story. It was also fun, and it was, as I said, a splasher. These killer mermaids are hungry. So this story follows this girl, Liv Reyes, and she shows up to the police station. She has this incredible story. She ends up telling this to Andy McCullum, who works at the police station and is a sergeant, and she's actually the daughter of the chief of police. The chief put her on this because I guess he thinks she's good at getting people to trust her, to tell her stories and all that stuff. So Liv tells her this insane story about these killer mermaids that are in this abandoned bunker that's in the woods that was abandoned back in the 1950s. No one ever really knew why. And so they were out there because their 2 friends had a YouTube channel called Herb Exploitation. There's the two guys who have the channel, the brother of the one guy, this other girl, Claire, who's also filming, and then Liv, who is filming. And Liv's the only one who escaped alive. And so she goes into this crazy story of how they go in there and they encounter these 3 mermaids. And apparently these mermaids may have been the reason that this base became abandoned. And it didn't always used to be underwater, but over the years, just flooding and whatnot has flooded into this big, huge bunker. And it's like, it sounds like it's ginormous from what I get from reading it, and that it used to be able to hold like airplanes and stuff inside it and all of that. It was a pretty wild story and it was very fun. I would say it was pretty highly addictive because I sped through it very fast. And so it's fast paced, it's a splasher, and it's fun. I like weird books. Killer mermaids? Heck yeah. And it had to do with cryptids because a mermaid is a cryptid, so it was perfect to read for the Cryptid readathon. So I may try to fit in at least one more book about cryptids. We'll see if I have the time. Hopefully I can get one more in. It's been a really fun month of reading about strange and weird creatures that may or may not exist or have existed. Who knows? I don't know. Do you know? I don't think anyone knows. So if you're a fan of books about cryptids, next video coming up will be about another book about cryptids. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.